The following audio dub is made with the permission of the original author Mandroid. Please support the original production by following the link in the description below. Thank you. Alright, where the fuck did I put David?
You are Mous, and you are less than pleased. Before you had a chance to get your bearing, you and Anon were gawked at by an entire town of ponies and crammed into a train car. That was almost 3 hours ago. The time between then and now had been dominated by this Twilight pony asking you every question imaginable about humans, as well as giving you both a crash course on her world from the founding of this nation of Equestria you were in by the princesses you were headed to see, ending with a tale of how her and her friends banished something called a Discord just recently. Her friends were content to stare out the windows, probably wise to how much this pony could talk. After the 1000th question, Twilight finally closed her accursed notepad. Fucking thing was probably full with how much she wrote in it.
Thank you both for your answers. You certainly have an interesting species.
You grunt out an acknowledgement, your patience for this crap left back at your broken-ass apartment. Anon seemed to have a bit left over, however.
Not a problem, Twilight. Maybe it can help us figure out what happened to us.
Anon had you there. It can't hurt letting the experts have all the facts, and if it could, well, you had a plan. Sort of. As Twilight got up from her seat, you took the opportunity to size up the rest of your merry band. Anon looked a bit frazzled, but he had a smile on his face and was looking around the train car with lidded eyes. He always was more open in these situations. These ponies, on the other hand, you weren't so sure of. Twilight seemed inquisitive, if a bit incredulous to your explanation of airplanes. You'd keep her at arm's length. Applejack and Rainbow Dash were talking about something near the front of the car. Rainbow Dash seemed brash and loud. She actually reminded you of yourself when you were younger, and a bit of yourself now. Applejack seemed a bit curious about you, not that you could understand why. You noticed that she kept glancing at you during Twilight's interrogation. Whatever. Rarity and Pinkie Pie seemed only partially interested. Rarity had been listening in once Twilight asked you about your clothes, but backed off once the topic was dropped. It might be unfair to consider Pinkie Pie uninterested. You thought she was certainly interested in throwing you a super duper ginormous welcome party! As she put it. Maybe she's taken an interest after that. Listen to yourself. You sound like an egomaniac. Just because you would be so interested in a colorful horse dropping out of the sky doesn't mean that these horses would all be interested in you. Sorry, not horse, pony. Gonna have to get used to that. The one called Fluttershy was sitting in her seat quietly. She seemed to be staring at Anon rather intently. That was weird. Oh well, maybe it was just the shock of the moment. The final member of your train car wasn't even a pony. It was some lizard dragon thing Twilight had picked up on your way to the train station. Spike, as you learned, had jotted down something on a piece of parchment and then blew fire on it. Twilight said he was sending a message to her teacher. You had no idea what immolating the letter had to do with mail, but you were rolling with it at this point. Anon must have noticed you looking around and elbowed you in the rib to get your attention.
You cool, dude?
Yeah, just thinking.
I thought I smelled smoke.
You let out a small chuckle and elbow him back.
At least I don't look like some dork who spaces out all the time.
Yeah. Instead, you look like some dork who had his favorite toy taken away.
I didn't lose my favorite toy. I have it on the back of my belt.
Anon raised an eyebrow as he stares at you.
Say what?
I grabbed David before we answered the door, just in case.
David was the Bowie knife you bought and had engraved to prove a point when you were 15. Everyone who said it was a waste of money just couldn't get the awesome joke. At least, that's what you told yourself. Anon looked concerned.
Dude, we're about to go meet their princesses. You really think you can sneak a knife into there?
You had considered that. They were sure to have security.
I can try, but I'd rather have it not need it than need it not have it.
He sits back in his chair without taking his eyes off you.
Your funeral, dude.
Your funeral, too. Guilt by association.
Your train sped out of a tunnel and you both got your first glimpses at Canterlot. Damn, was all either of you could mutter. It's built into the side of a damn mountain and seemed to not have any support on the ground. The whole city looked like it was made of white marble, and practically every roof was a rich purple with a glittering golden trim. A voice snapped you out of your trance.
So I take it you guys like what you see?
You turned to see Rainbow Dash leaning over the seat in front of you. She had a wide smirk on her face.
That city is incredible! I've never seen anything like it!
You ponies sure know how to make a statement.
Rainbow Dash grinned at the two of you.
Yeah, well, Canterlot is where the princesses live. They gotta make it look nice.
You looked out the window and saw that the city, and the princesses who may decide your fate, was rapidly approaching.
Listen, if you get nervous here, just stick close to the dash. I know the city like the back of my hoof.
Rainbow waves a cyan hoof at the two of you. Oh, and she was beaming at you like no tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks.
Got that right. Thanks, Rainbow Dash.
No problem, Anon.
Rainbow says as she flies away. Well, at least Rainbow Dash seemed helpful, if a bit boisterous. Not that you could falter yourself. The train pulled into the station, and you and Anon walked to the doors to take your first steps into Canterlot.